The clover spreading through your grass is not a weed, and the only reason you think it is comes down to a marketing decision made after the Second World War. You know the patch, those low, three-leafed clusters creeping across a lawn, the little white flowers, and the same reflex every time. Get the weed killer, spray it before it takes over. Put the sprayer down for 1 minute, because the clover you are about to kill is the most useful plant that will ever grow in your lawn, and you are paying money to destroy it, and then paying more money to replace what it was giving you for free. It is making its own fertilizer out of thin air and feeding it to your grass. It stays green in the heat of summer when your grass has gone brown and brittle, and it is quietly feeding the bees your entire garden depends on. There is also a reason clover showed up in your lawn in particular, a message it is sending about your soil, and I will get to that. But first, let me show you why clover used to be in every good grass seed bag in the country and what happened to it. Start with the part that surprises almost everyone. Clover was not always the enemy of a good lawn. It was the definition of one. For decades, right up through the middle of the 20th century, white clover was a standard, deliberate ingredient in premium grass seed mixes. Seed companies put it in on purpose, and gardeners paid extra for it because everybody understood that along with clover in it was greener, tougher, and healthier than along without. A clover lawn was a sign you knew what you were doing. Then, in 1945, a new broadleaf herbicide called 2,4-D arrived, and the chemical industry turned its wartime research toward the suburbs. Those herbicides had a problem. They killed the dandelions and the plantain, yes, but they also killed clover, because clover is a broadleaf plant too. So rather than admit the product destroyed something valuable, the industry did the simpler thing. It redefined clover as a weed. Advertising taught an entire generation that a perfect lawn meant nothing but uniform green grass, and that the clover their parents had paid extra for was now a flaw to be eliminated. Clover did not change. The story we were told about it did, and it changed because somebody had a chemical to sell. So what were they actually talking you out of? Start underground, because this is the part that matters most. Clover is a legume, in the same family as beans and peas, and legumes do something almost no other lawn plant can. On their roots, they form small nodules that house bacteria called rhizobia, and those bacteria pull nitrogen straight out of the air and convert it into a form plants can actually use. Nitrogen is the exact nutrient your grass is hungriest for. The clover spreading through your grass is not a weed, and the only reason you think it is comes down to a marketing decision made after the Second World War. You know the patch, those low three-leaf clusters creeping across the lawn, the little white flowers, and the same reflex every time. Get the weed killer, spray it before it takes over. Put the sprayer down for 1 minute, because the clover you are about to kill is the most useful plant that will ever grow in your lawn, and you are paying money to destroy it, and then paying more money to replace what it was giving you for free. It is making its own fertilizer out of thin air and feeding it to your grass. It stays green in the heat of summer when your grass has gone brown and brittle, and it is quietly feeding the bees your entire garden depends on. There is also a reason clover showed up in your lawn in particular, a message it is sending about your soil, and I will get to that. But first, let me show you why clover used to be in every good grass seed bag in the country and what happened to it. It is the main ingredient in the lawn fertilizer you buy in bags, and clover manufactures it continuously for free and releases it into the soil around it, where the surrounding grass absorbs it and grows greener. This is not a small effect. A lawn with clover mixed through it needs far less fertilizer than a pure grass lawn, and plenty of clover lawns need none at all. So picture what actually happens when you spray. You kill the plant that was fertilizing your lawn, then you drive to the store and buy the nitrogen it was making for you, and you spread that on the grass, and you call that lawn care. And the nitrogen is only the start of it. Clover has a deeper root system than most turf grass, which means it reaches water that grass roots cannot, And that is why a clover patch stays green and soft through the hot, dry weeks of summer, while the grass around it goes brown and crunchy. It handles foot traffic. It crowds out other weeds by covering the ground so thickly that nothing else can get established, which means less weeding, not more. And when it flowers, those small white blooms become one of the most reliable food sources bees have all season, sitting right there in an ordinary suburban lawn where almost nothing else is blooming. Free fertilizer, drought resistance, weed suppression, and pollinator food from a plant you are trained to poison on sight. If you are starting to see your own yard a little differently right now, that is exactly what this channel is for. So hit subscribe and stay with me, because the next part is the one that changes how you look at your whole lawn. Here is the message I promised you at the start. The reason clover showed up in your lawn specifically. Clover thrives where grass struggles, and the single most common reason is nitrogen. Grass is a heavy feeder. When soil runs low on nitrogen, grass thins out and weakens, and clover, which makes its own, does not care at all. It moves straight into the gap and flourishes. So a lawn taking over with clover is not a lawn with a weed problem. It is a lawn telling you, as clearly as it can, that the soil underneath is hungry and the grass cannot get what it needs. The clover is both the messenger and the repair crew, showing up exactly where the ground is depleted and then fixing that depletion by pulling nitrogen out of the sky. Which means when you spray it and it comes back the next summer and the summer after that, it is not because the clover beat you. It is because the soil is still poor and you have been killing the one thing that was making it better. So here is what you actually do, and reaching for a herbicide is not on the list. If you like the look of clover, and more people do every year, the easiest path is to stop fighting it and let it fill in. Many people now deliberately overseed white clover or micro clover into their lawns for exactly the reasons in this video, and it is far cheaper than a season of fertilizer. If you would rather have less of it, do not spray, feed the soil instead. Get a soil test, correct what is actually low, and let thicker, better-fed grass compete on its own terms, because clover only wins where grass is starving. Mow a little higher, around 3 inches, since taller grass shades the low-growing clover and slows it down naturally. And if bees are visiting your clover flowers, mow a little less often while it is blooming, or simply leave one patch unmowed, because that small white flower may be the most valuable thing in your yard on a hot July afternoon. One thing to be aware of if you have young children or pets running barefoot, clover flowers do attract bees, so keep the play area mowed and let the clover bloom elsewhere. That is the whole management strategy. No chemicals required. The clover in your lawn is not a weed to be erased on sight. It is free fertilizer. It is drought protection. It is weed control. It is food for the pollinators your garden cannot live without. And it was in every good seed bag in the country until somebody with a product to sell decided to call it a flaw. It does not deserve a sprayer. It deserves a place. So the next time you see that low green patch spreading through your grass and your hand reaches for the bottle, stop. Ask what it is actually doing there. It has been quietly doing your lawn care for you the entire time. Have you ever sprayed something out of your lawn and later found out it was worth keeping? Or did someone in your family keep clover on purpose? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. Every plant in your yard is hiding a story exactly like this one. And on this channel, we go looking for them one at a time. So if you want to keep seeing your garden a little differently, subscribe, and I will meet you at the next one. I will see you there.